Good evening, everyone, and welcome to LGBT Outdoors Live. I'm Justin with LGBT Outdoors, and we are so glad that you are with us tonight. We have an exciting evening planned. I think there's going to be a lot of laughing to come in the very near future. So it is a great night to be tuning in. Want to go over a couple things with you before we get started with our amazing guest tonight, because we want to keep you updated on cool things that you can do to connect with us. The first things that we want you to do is if you're watching, feel free to ask us questions, say hi, let us know where you're watching from in the world. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can stay connected to us and know when we do these videos and post any future videos as well. Want to jump into real quick about our website because there's a lot of great information on there. We want you to know that we are not just a Instagram page, we're not just a Facebook group. We are a community, we are an organization that has some great things going on. We have blogs on our websites that you can check out. If you want to be a guest blog, shoot us an email so that we can talk about that. We also have our events that are on there. And speaking of events, next Tuesday we're going to have Cedric from Colorado with us, and he's going to be talking about some of his adventures in Colorado, which I am really excited about. It's going to be amazing. That's going to be next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also, big news, we officially have t-shirts. You guys have been asking for t-shirts and apparel for a long time, and we now have them available on our website in the store. We have our first one that is $5 off. We're doing a pre-sale on them. $5 off until this Friday. So get yours soon before the price goes up. So check that out. We would love for you to be sporting our attire. So, our friends tonight are coming to us from Ontario, Canada. They are two amazing girls, Em and Jane, and they ended up getting married and turning a school bus into a cool house that they ended up going across Canada and North America in, and they are full of amazing stories. So, from Ontario, Canada, we are so excited to have Em and Jane with us. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Hi, we're so excited to be here.
You make us seem so official. Thank you.
You are official. I mean, you guys have your Instagram page and a YouTube channel going and great followers, so you're
We're
official.
rocking it in.
Here we are. We exist. We're real.
You do exist. I am
Nice to
just
be here.
well, we're honored to have you. We think that you two are amazing. We've watched a lot of your videos. We're following you on your Instagram, and you're just the kind of people that we want to be able to connect to our community because that's really what we're all about at LGBT Outdoors is just connecting the LGBTQ plus community to nature, to the outdoors, to each other. So welcome, and we are going to have a
Very
great
cool.
time tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So each week we've been asking a few questions to each of our guests. So we're going to do that to start off with. What
Okay.
is quarantine looking like for you? And I kind of know, and this is kind of cool, but I want people to hear from you what you got going on right now during quarantine.
Yeah. So quarantine for us is a little interesting.
We were traveling through the States when COVID hit, basically. We were in Utah and we were scared that they would close the Canadian borders and we wouldn't be able to get back home. So we did a very fast drive north and west to British Columbia, and then another fast drive all the way east to Ontario to kind of like north of Detroit is where we are now.
Yeah. So we're here now. We're at my parents' house. My dad is a doctor. My mom is also a doctor, but she's newly retired. And so we're here cooking for him, hanging out with him at a very big distance, and just kind of making sure his daily tasks are taken care of so he can stay as stress-free as possible and just he can focus on what's important, which is being in the healthcare system right now. So to kind of give us something fun to do, we then also bought a trailer that we've been converting. And we really loved building when we built our bus, and we just have been having the building bug ever since. So we built a trailer. Well, no, we did not build a trailer. We bought a trailer. We bought a trailer. God, we're not that talented. And we're flipping it now with the intention intention to sell it. We're not at this point thinking we're gonna keep it.
Although every day as we make it, it's like turning out a little nicer than we
We're
thought
like,
it would.
maybe
So
we should keep it.
Just
So
attach
we're
it to the
living
bus.
here.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
no,
right?
make like a full palace. We'll put a swimming pool in the back.
Honestly,
a
you
hot
could.
tub. Yeah, I'm gonna put a tennis court on the roof, but that's regardless.
So that's kind of what quarantine is for us. It's been being here on my parents' farm, taking care of my dad while he's working, and spending our days just back in the building mode, converting this camper into something not from 1999. So
Right.
it's been fun.
Well-
So we've been documenting that and putting that on YouTube as well.
Yeah, well, hats off to you for taking care of your dad like that while he is taking care of other people. That's really awesome. And
He's a nice guy, so it all works out.
that makes it even better, right? And a great project. We're going to get to that a little bit more a little bit later because
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be incredible to learn about. But tell us a little bit about both of you. Where are you from? Where are you both from? You know, a little bit about how you met, how long you've been together. Share some of that with us.
Sure. So we're both actually from Waterloo, Ontario, in Canada. Did not meet here, of course. We met kind of near Niagara Falls at a friend of ours was doing a music night, and Emily and I were both
Opening acts.
Yeah, opening acts. We were introduced that night and have spent almost every minute together.
Yeah, we
like,
pretty much started dating then. I
Yeah.
mean, we didn't know we were dating
Wow.
for a little while, but looking back, we didn't date anyone else. So
yeah, exactly. And that was almost 6 years ago. So yeah.
So yeah,
it's been pretty good so far.
It's been quite convenient also that we both come from the same hometown, and you know, this hometown now has become a bigger part of our lives now that we're, you know, married, and we're coming back and we're doing family Christmases, and we do Christmas Eve at Jane's parents' house, and then Christmas breakfast at her parents' house, and then only 20 minutes later we're at my parents' house. So it's like, it's so
Nice.
great and convenient that we happen to be from the same hometown, because our hometown played absolutely no role in us meeting. So it's just totally coincidence, which is very fun.
That's cool. This is very convenient. Tell me a little bit about the backstory of this. How did you guys decide that you were going to buy a bus and take on this project? And were you both on board from the beginning, or did one need a little bit more convincing, or how did that go down?
Not at all.
Didn't mean to laugh
Yeah.
like that. Seemed a little rude.
So Emma was very obsessed with tiny homes. Watched 5 million tiny home
All
videos.
YouTube videos.
Everyone.
I've
everyone.
seen it.
Yeah, she's seen it for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And then from tiny homes, she got onto the idea of school buses.
Yeah, and schoolies, and converting school buses into tiny homes. And
For a
I
few
just kept being
reasons.
like, Jane, like, wouldn't this be the best?
And I said a lot of, yeah, sure, let's totally do that. Because when some sane human being comes up to you and says, hey, would you like to go and buy a school bus and live in it? You say yes, because you're like a little bit afraid of them and you're afraid that they will hurt you if you say no. So
I think there's
say
a lot.
yes.
I think there's a lot that you didn't think it was gonna
Exactly.
happen.
I was like placating her, saying like, you know what? Sure, let's do this, knowing in my heart of hearts this was never going to happen. So why not like make her happy for the hour before she like moves on to something else?
She likes to say that she still doesn't believe it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we've been living in it for 9 months. So yeah.
Oh, that's
But
amazing.
that's kind of how it all started. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. So when you bought the bus, did it all of a sudden like, oh, we are really doing this? Or
Yeah,
It
It
was
takes a-
weird. That was a scary moment
Yeah.
for even me.
Yeah.
Because
I was surprised. I think that like there was no like otherworldly force that was stopping me from doing this. Like
yeah.
no one stopped me from going to the bank, taking like a whole bunch of money out in cash, giving it to this man I'd met one day ago on the
Kijiji.
internet, and then
Oh,
having
Craigslist.
a school bus just in my driveway. I was like, this is allowed? This is something that like there's not going to be a police officer who comes and says, what are you doing?
And like this was a fresh school bus. Like there was like PB&J sandwiches. There was like fresh Band-Aids. Like it was like just off, like,
full of benches.
Kids literally were in it.
Yeah, exactly. Full benches.
They were in it. The kids were in it. Yeah, exactly. They went to something called the African Lion Safari, which is like a drive-through zoo where it's just a big area, and then you drive through it, and like the animals come up to your vehicle because it's just this huge gated area. I've never actually been, but this is what it's a big Ontario thing.
Cambridge, Ontario.
So they had this day, the field trip, the day that they drove the bus to us later that day. So it had
children in it and monkeys on top of it, and then it came to us.
Wow.
Yeah, but this was a yellow like school bus with everything in it.
Yeah.
So I guess if it came to you that day, at least you knew that it ran, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. We had already seen it once. We already drove, and actually we seen it twice. We drove and we just saw it. It was our 5th bus that we saw in person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We Googled like a few bus terms to like make it look like we knew what we were doing. Like, like spring leaf, and we're like, people don't know what spring leaves are normally, so if I say that word, like they're gonna assume. Yeah, exactly. We dressed up in like clothes that made us seem like we probably know cars, but not like super big because we didn't want to be discriminated against. So we were like playing this like clown look. And yeah, actually the man was super nice. And so nice. Then we took it to mechanic. So then we went back a second time, took it to a mechanic, got the mechanic to look it over. He brought us into a room without the guy who we were buying it from and was like, hey, what are you paying for it? And we told him, he's like, oh, like, yeah, that's a great price. This thing is in really, really good shape. And we had great. So then we went back out to the man. We said, we will buy it. We will get the money for you right now. So he backed it out of the mechanic, backed it straight into a fire hydrant. Straight into a fire hydrant.
No.
And we went, that is our bus. Oh, no. And then the whole bumper crushed in, a corner crushed in.
It was terrible. So
and that's why we
called it back into the mechanic, and then the mechanic just fixed it there
and bumped it out.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, it kind of broke it in a little bit more for you. You didn't have to worry about putting the first dent in it.
Exactly, it's true. And that's why we've named our bus Marilyn, because we like to say it's like her little mole. Because then we got really scared. After leaving this man, he needed it for a few more days to drive children around. And before the summer was officially up. And then we started getting paranoid, like what happens if it was like his beautiful bus that he made everyone come look at, and then he would drive you and deliver you like a different bus. And then we're like, no, he can't, because Marilyn got her mole, and we will be able to fully remember who it is. So, and then we love Marilyn. We love her and all of her imperfections. So.
And what year was this?
That we bought the bus?
Yeah, that you bought the bus.
2 years ago, so 2018.
2018.
2018.
Mm-hmm.
And you got married in 2019.
2019, yes. Yeah, so we bought the bus, and then Emily...
I'm a teacher, sorry, to clarify. Okay. So we kind of function on, like, school summers, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, we got the bus kind of at the very end of the school year, and then that 2018 summer, we converted it into our little tiny house. And then the following summer, we got married and then left a week or 2 weeks after our wedding to go on our trip.
Amazing. And so what was your ultimate goal in buying this bus and doing this?
Definitely doing this trip. We really wanted to, we'd done a decent amount of traveling outside of North America, but neither of us had seen a ton of Canada and the States. And so we said, hey, let's explore what's closer by for a longer period of time and really
have a better understanding of what this continent is. Like, I feel like every time, you know, we have an opportunity and finances and time and, you know, it all comes together and the stars align, we're like, well, let's use this chance to go overseas and see a different culture. But with all that being said, like, there's so much that we don't understand about our own continent and the cultures that are amongst this continent. So we really wanted to take this as a chance to, like, truly get to know where we're from and understand the geography and the people who come from here. So that was kind of the ultimate goal.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we decided
So
to get
cool.
married. So then we said, oh, it can be our honeymoon, and then it seems more reasonable.
You can justify it a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
We
easy
have-
to justify a 14-month honeymoon, right?
Sure, why not? So we have a clip from your YouTube that we want to show right now, and I believe this is week 1 of the road trip when you guys started off. So let's take a look at this.
Okay. Great. It's finally happening.
We are leaving. We are leaving the driveway.
On the road right now. Goodbye, comfort of home. Hello, real world.
Oh my God.
Bus world. We're excited.
We're scared. It doesn't feel real. It still doesn't feel real.
No.
It's starting to feel a bit real, but
Yeah.
it still doesn't feel real.
This is a monumentous occasion. We're going to Parc National Jacques Cartier, and just right about now are hitting 1,000 kilometers.
We're at 999.7. Not 99.9.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Here, we are witnessing a moment in history. Jane driving the bus for the first time because I let her. We're on a road. It's a straight road. It doesn't even have center lines. The next 170 kilometers. I don't want to die. We have made it to the ocean.
Ladies, that's incredible.
Oh, it's so fun to watch back again. We haven't watched that in a long time. That's very
You should
fun.
go back and watch them all. Like, I could
I
be
know.
addicted just going through, starting at week 1 and just watching them all.
I still have so many more I have to edit. Like, it's unbelievable. I'm so behind, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Definitely. Whenever you get back on the road, like, I'm sure that there's enough room me and my husband could just, like, tag along and jump in there, right?
Hey, we hook up the trailer.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Tell us about the inside of the bus. Like, what kind of amenities are there? You know,
Sure.
you basically said it's kind of like a tiny home on wheels.
Top-notch bucket for pooping.
A what?
We have a composting toilet.
Okay.
But it's a bucket. And it's a fairly standard like DIY composting toilet. There's these like Nature's Heads and big brand composting toilets, but honestly, they're like $1,000 and they do the exact same thing that a DIY one does. So
I like that you immediately go right to the door.
yeah, they got that.
Hey, let's face
It's
it.
the thing that everyone wants to know.
We all
get
want to
this all
know.
the time.
I know.
We have solar panels, so we have all of the electricity that a girl could ask for who doesn't have Wi-Fi and doesn't need that much electricity.
A full double bed with a regular mattress. That was super important to us. No oven, but we have a propane camp stove, which honestly,
Double burner, yeah.
let me tell you, I had never had a propane stove before, and I feel like a chef when I cook on it because it's like
Wow.
got the flames, and I'm like, here I am talking in a French accent, grilling my chickpeas. Mostly all we eat. So,
What else do we have in there? We have an extra seat for you. We really wanted to make it. It was really important for us that there was like an actual car seat, not like children's car seat, but a seat from a car in the bus, not just a bus
Okay.
seat. We wanted a 3-point seat belt.
mhm.
We're not about this like lay in the bed, like, and let's hope we don't die. Like let's buckle down.
Yeah.
That was really important. So those are like the big things.
Yeah, we've got a tiny, it's called a coolatron. It's like an
Oh, yeah,
electric
right.
cooler / fridge thing.
Okay.
And then for water, we have just gravity fed. It's like a jug that goes into our sink, which goes into another jug of gray water. It's pretty,
Which is a faucet.
cool.
yeah, it's pretty simple, but it's definitely all that we need. We did
Yeah.
a month-long backpacking trip through Iceland a few years ago and said, well, our bus trip will be 12 times longer, so it just has to be 12 times nicer than the 2-person tent that we lived in for an entire month. And we did it.
Yeah, it's like we stopped living there because of the circumstances, but we didn't stop living in there because we didn't want to anymore.
Mhm.
Like we were not
Yeah.
sick of it. We really loved it. It was
Yeah.
all that we needed. It's a really cool lesson to be like, oh, we don't need all these other things that we thought we did at one point. So
Like a
When
shower.
when it comes, well, speaking of that, what do you do for a shower? And also,
So,
to go kind of along with that, storage. I feel like storage would be one of those things that you think there wouldn't be a lot of, but did you find that there actually was a lot of creative ways you could do storage?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
everything had 35 purposes. So
Yeah.
it's like our couch was also then just storage units underneath. Our bed flipped up, so it was storage underneath. There's like, you can see these 2 ottomans underneath. That's where all of our clothes are. Our kitchen, all of the drawers held all of our food, our pots, our pans.
yeah. We had 2 longboards in there that we used the last week that we were traveling
Of
and
the 9
had
months.
not used for the previous 8 3/4 months.
Honestly, we forgot they were there.
We forgot they were there, and it's like, that's how much storage there was.
Yeah, it
We
wasn't
just-
even packed to the brim.
Mhm.
We could have packed it more if we.
Yeah,
if
we could have
wanted
put
Wow.
like 2 or 6 more longboards in there just if we needed them.
to, just in case.
Exactly.
Nice.
But
And
then
then
What about the shower?
wise- Yeah, shower wise,
shower.
we
We had 3 methods. One,
Wow.
God.
kindness of
Why would you say the
Yeah,
three?
we had 3 methods.
I know she's gonna say it's not.
You know she's got to say it now.
One, sometimes we would pay for camping and then there'd be showers at the camp. 2, kindness
Okay.
of
True.
strangers. People were like
Kindness of strangers
so
was big.
kind to us many, many times.
We would never
Strangers.
ask. They would just
Yeah.
offer, and I don't know if that was a stench
Yeah.
related thing or if they just understood the circumstances.
Wait, like in their house? I mean,
Yeah, like people we just meet would be like, "Well, you can use our shower." We'd be like,
wow.
"Okay."
Okay.
Thank you. No, so kind.
We would say no for like the people we didn't feel safe with.
The
I'm
people who
glad
were
you're
really
still
fun.
alive and here.
Yeah,
I know.
No, they were all really, really
yeah,
nice.
yeah, exactly. Number 3 was we had, it's called a solar shower, but it's basically like a black, like garbagey bag. No, like a sturdy rubber
It's a
black
camping
bag.
solar shower. They're like $20.
Yeah, and you just fill it with water, put it in the sun for a decent number of hours, and then hang it up on something.
And it has like a shower spigot, so
Yeah.
then you just like pull it and then it
Yeah.
releases the water.
And
I
number
thought you were gonna
4,
say- oh,
no,
God,
I
you
am
were.
saying number 4. Our most popular method that honestly we used more than anything
Oh,
is, I don't know if you've heard of one of these. It's called a salad bowl.
Salad bowl.
It's just like a metal bowl.
I named it the Gremlin shower of shame because that's honestly how it feels.
Just, you take a bowl shower, or as I like to say, I'm gonna do a bowl tonight, and
It meant the shower.
and you just
The
just
pour
shower.
like-
water over your head.
You
and
can
you're turning
picture
over
it.
a
It's
bowl.
like, yeah, just on
Yeah.
the bus floor.
I've been to Africa a number of times and some pretty remote places there. So any of those I can relate to and be like,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank
I
you.
totally get that. I know a lot of people would have a hard time with some of those, but I mean, it's part of the adventure, right?
It's fun.
We
Exactly.
like the outdoor shower. It's just that the way that our trip ended up working out was that we ended up just being in like a forever fall, and then the fall turned into spring, and it was just like always that kind of cool temperature, just enough that you don't want to be in a bathing suit or naked outside. Like it was just
Right.
too cold.
Yeah.
So it just, yeah, bull showers became pretty
The norm.
pretty clutch.
It worked, so that's all that matters, really, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, question for you. You said that like a lot of strangers that you met would let you take showers at their place. Did you run into a lot of other LGBTQ plus people on your adventures? Did some of these people know like that you were wise, and what was that
We-
dynamics like?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a kind of a two-part question.
Mhm.
You want to answer
Okay.
Okay,
queer people?
Yeah, on our trip, we really did not run into that many queer people. There were times I was just like starving. It's like, where are my like gay people? Which I found kind of interesting. Maybe it was just like the communities that we were in or the places we were going, or maybe we just weren't looking hard enough. I don't know. I don't know what the situation was there. That we didn't actually meet that many in our 9 months.
But part two, all of the people that we did meet, like, yes, did know we were wives, did know, because, I don't know, I just think, well, okay, not all the people. There are a few people that now that I say that, I'm like, no, we did play the sisters card a few times. But for the most part, people who we knew we were going to actually have interactions with. So, for example, like, maybe a third of the time, or no, maybe not that much, a fifth of the time, for us figuring out where we were going to stay, we would stay in somebody's driveway. So we have a membership to this online platform that I can't even think of a
It's
name.
called Boondockers.
Oh, it's called Boondockers.
It's kind of like couch surfing, but for driveways, where
Yeah.
people just offer their driveways up for.
That
So
doesn't
you
sound
pay
shady at
for-
all.
No, it's like, it's totally,
But
I
there's
don't know.
like
It's like
reviews.
Airbnb.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
Airbnb, but
Yeah.
you don't pay for actually going. You just pay for the year. Like you just pay to have access to the information, and you have references and they
Oh.
have references, and like you get reviewed and they get reviewed, and so you can read all those things. Anyway, and
Okay.
so those times it's like where we know we're going to be having interactions with these people, and I know I'm going to be sleeping on their property. Like I want to feel safe. So we would, in the request to stay there, make it very clear. I'd be like, hello, my wife and I am a female, other female together with a female. Like we would make it very blunt, and then just like always give them an out so that if they weren't comfortable with that, we didn't have to come in contact with them. Because honestly,
Yeah.
like I don't have time for that. So like, in the end, we actually felt safe like a lot.
When we were staying over, it was challenging. Like going to so many new places because we didn't have the like, when you live in a city, you already kind of know if it's a fine, safe place to be or what the deal is.
Mhm.
But there were so many times where we'd be like, I haven't even heard of
Where we
Roanoke, Virginia before. I don't know what it's gonna
the
be
only
like.
city that we had heard of.
But like I didn't know anything about it, or just like
Sure.
random
Or Boone.
places.
Boone
Yeah,
is a city.
exactly.
And so you wouldn't know if you're safe or not. So then just to have kind of a night at ease, we would try to connect with people so that we would know that they knew who we were and they were okay with who we were, and thus we would kind of sleep better.
Yeah, that gives you a little peace of mind. We have a question actually that we're going to go ahead and jump to for you. Why did you choose a schoolie versus cargo van
Thank you, Sarah.
as hardest
Anderson.
part of van life? Great question, Sarah.
Aha.
Which Sarah is
Great question.
amazing. She is in Colorado and a big part of our community. So, hi, Sarah. Glad you're
Cool.
tuning in tonight.
Hi, Sarah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Schoolie versus cargo van, 100% cash money. Schoolies cost like, school buses cost like $2,000, $3,000,
yeah.
and cargo vans cost like $20,000.
Yeah.
So
in the end, like our whole conversion, I mean, we are going to be fixing it up a bit now that we have more skills and more time. We are going to be fixing it up a bit more. But in the end of our first round of conversions, the whole thing cost us like $8,000, I think. So, or maybe $7.5 grand American. So, like 10-ish grand Canadian. I don't know conversions. Anyway, so that the finances was a huge thing. Yeah.
And then kind of playing off of that, one of the hardest things though about traveling was the fact that we were traveling in a schoolie, which is something that we didn't even think about, which is I think is like such a dumb thing not to consider. But like if you are living and traveling in a school bus,
a purple school bus,
people are going to look at you and kind of playing off of what we were just saying in terms of like being in places and not knowing if you're safe or not. We would arrive in these cities and know, are you looking at us because we're like weirdo dirty hippies who live in a school bus, or because we're like two women together? And so that was always like,
it would be scary because I think we're trained to, you know, like if we're in our hometown and we're walking down the street holding hands and people are looking at us, it's because we're then feeling unsafe. We're feeling like, you know, what conservative thing is going on here? Like, why are we, you know? So it is definitely, that was the hardest thing I would say. It's just like a lack of privacy and feeling like you didn't know why people were staring. And we got used to it.
Yeah, but I think it's also like, are they staring for like good reasons? Because they're like, oh, what a cool thing that they're living in.
It was hard to tell.
Because you're like a weird, gross.
But I think in the end, we ended up kind of getting used to that and assuming people were looking at us because we were driving a very loud, like sound-wise and just visually vehicle. So then we kind of just started assuming the best versus the worst, just for peace of mind amongst yourselves.
But there is still that like safety aspect that never went away that I don't know. We've met a decent number of like straight couples who have been traveling in school buses and they have not experienced that whatsoever. And it could also be like it's, you know, two queer women and it's also just women traveling, and
there could be a number of factors. So it's interesting. Like we haven't found many people who relate to that experience, and we've shared that a lot. And I think, like you're saying, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're queer, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's all coincidental. Like, maybe. But if we were in a cargo van, if we had the finances for that, you can be a little bit more discreet, or at least people have seen you before. Like even if they know that you're sleeping in there and they know it's a camper van, like people have seen camper vans, so they're not really gonna look because they're curious. So then you're kind of filtering in. They're staring at me because I'm queer, and thus I might not be safe. So that's kind of like that changes things.
And you have to take into consideration, like you said, you guys painted this bus too, so you weren't just in a yellow school bus, right?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Did you paint it yourselves?
We did, yeah.
In where we're from, we can't, like, if it's not a school bus, you have to paint it a different color. So we said, oh, let's just like paint it nice and cute. And part of the reason why we wanted to paint it like with mountains and like to be a little obnoxious was just so that there's kind of, if you have a bus with curtains, it's kind of obvious that someone's living in there. So we wanted it to look like wholesome people were living in there, as opposed to like people who are going to like steal your children. So that was why we tried to like, okay, we'll just paint it purple, do
and
some
that worked.
mountains.
That worked. Like a lot of people who didn't actually see us, but you can hear everything inside the bus, and people don't realize that. And so we would hear people talking about us, and they didn't know we could hear them. And they would be like, oh, I need to go see who these world travelers are and see where they've been and
that's
and what
cool.
and you know, like, and just from the paint job and our Ontario license plates, people would be able to get the story more or less. And then they'd see it was two women, they'd be like, but where are your husbands? And we'd be like, I don't know.
They got ate by a bear. I don't know.
They're gone. Tragic. I don't want to talk about it.
That's awesome. If anybody else has questions, be sure to type them in the chat. We'd love to be able to get to them. Great question, Sarah. Tell us, you might have touched on this a little bit. What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced during all this?
Privacy was the biggest.
Yeah, privacy was the biggest, and I think there were a lot of challenges at the very beginning of our trip because there was so much to get used to. I think it was definitely a learning curve in terms of deciding what we had to worry about and what we didn't have to worry about. Things like, oh, how much water do we have? When are we going to run out of water? Will we know when there's grocery stores? Will we, like, what's the gas mileage on our bus? Are we going to
Or even like figuring out how to find safe places to sleep every night so that we weren't spending half the day trying to figure out a safe place to sleep. And then it's just like, what's the point of us being here if all we're doing is stressing about it? So that was there was a learning curve there, for sure. But I think we both realized like we don't need that much physical space to live in. Like our house that we end up settling down in, we don't own anything now. Well, we do. It's just a bus. It doesn't need to be big.
Yeah.
But we did realize how much the outdoors really plays a key factor in our lives. And that was coming into play of just like, we know that when we do settle down and get property, like we need to have our own outdoor space. But then it also was just like, oh, we don't like, we started our trip really visiting all the small towns and just trying to get a feel for the culture of all these different places we were in. And then we started realizing like every time we really like took a breath and started really feeling like this was our trip was when we were in national or provincial or state parks. And for us, that was when we were like, oh, the outdoors is key.
Yes.
And
then like find noticeable differences in our moods and in like,
so then we kind of reprioritized the trip and said like, now we're hitting as many national parks as makes sense in the vicinity of our route, and just spending our time in national parks, being outside, just like exploring, hiking, and just like loving it. And that's really what ended up making the trip so beautiful and so amazing for us.
That's amazing. Tell us about a couple of really special moments on the trip. If it was a certain location or something that happened, specific areas maybe that would just like really cool and special for you guys.
Canyon. I know you do.
Hey, here's the thing about the Grand Canyon. I feel like everyone in the outdoor community loves shitting on the Grand Canyon. And the thing is, because it's like they say it's so popular, it's so like everyone goes to the Grand Canyon, and the reason is it is so amazing. It's the most incredible thing ever. Like I just want to go back there like every single day of my life. I just think it's so cool.
We hiked down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, down to the Colorado River, and stayed the night. We were like, oh, one night that we just kind of assumed that
people
was
like
maybe.
People do plan for this for like months to years in advance, and we showed up the day before and said, we'd like to be at the bottom, please.
And then they're like, okay, we can get you one camp spot for tomorrow.
For one night. And so we said, okay, that sounds great. That'll be all we need.
Because we bring all of our camping stuff with us in the bus. So like we can always venture out from the bus, and coming back to the bus, we're always like living in luxury. Like what? So nice. But so we went down there, and then we're like down there talking to other people, and everyone's staying for like 3 or 4 nights, and we're like, why the hell did we only stay for one night? Because it's like, it's far. Like, it's not the farthest hike we've done, and it's not even the most elevation that we've done, but with packs on and full gear on, and you have to bring all of the water you're going to use, etc., etc. Like, it was pretty hilariously gruesome.
But just so incredibly beautiful. Like, every view from every angle is so great. You get to the bottom, there's this, like, amazing oasis, and there is a bar down there, and we had a beer at the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it was a Bright Angel IPA, so it's named after the Bright Angel Trail, which is the trail you take heading back up. And honestly, I do understand why people kind of say like, the Grand Canyon, it looks just like, if you've seen a picture, that's what it looks like. Because when you're standing there, there's so much distance to it that it does look a little flat. I get that. But when you do hike down into it and you feel all of that canyon, like for many days after,
Yeah.
you then like it hits home more, and you definitely do go like, wow, that thing is spectacular.
It's the best.
But
That's
my
amazing.
personal favorite moment was this hike that we did called the Precipice Trail in Acadia National Park in Maine. And it's just this, we found this out because we were rock climbing the day before. It was my birthday present from Jane. And the rock climbing guide we went with just kind of said, hey, have you done this hike? And we're like, okay, great, let's do it. Didn't look it up, didn't do anything, just went because you told us it was cool. We took a bus to get there because there's free shuttles in Acadia National Park. So we took a bus to get there, and the bus driver is just like on the intercom telling everyone like, say goodbye.
It was just us, and then all these people that had gotten off a cruise ship, and we're doing like a tour around the park.
Yeah, and they're just like, say goodbye to these two women, like you will never see them again because they will fall to their doom. We were like, what are we gonna do? And we go to the entrance of this hike, and there's all these warning signs. And anyway, it was just the most stunning hike, and it was like straight up, and you're just on these iron rungs, just climbing. It was like rock climbing without rock climbing. You're pretty much just ladder climbing up a cliff and then scooting on these ledges. Not for people who are scared of heights, but we were really into it. And that was like one of our first very adventurous hikes that we did on the trip. It was a few months in, but the first one that really pushed ourselves, and it was the first one that went like, oh wow, like we're making life-changing memories on this trip. Like this is it. And that was a cool moment for us.
That's so cool. And how long did the trip last before you had to go back?
So we left in July 2019, and then we just came back April 1st, 2020.
Wow.
So I guess 9 months, and we were planning for 14. So
That's amazing. We have 2 more questions, I believe. Let's go ahead and jump to those. If you could, what's the longest you would want to be on the road?
Ooh, good question. We've talked about this a lot. I think
we're going back and
we're
forth.
going.
We know the person who wrote this question, and the person who wrote this question is probably asking for selfish reasons.
They want to know how long they're going to be separated from you.
I think part of us would want.
Part of us would want forever. Part of us
Okay.
would be like, this is our lives now.
But
We can
I
see that.
do really value my community and being close to my family and close to like the
Our
people, our friends, and really the people in our lives. I think that our ideal kind of thing is to do like a year-long trip and then settle down for a little bit and then like do another year-ish
we know
trip.
we want to have a home base in a community that we love, and we have a community here in Ontario that we really love, and we do want to settle down there, and we want that to be our home base. But that's not to say that that's going to be it for us. Like we do know that these 9 months seems so long. It flies by. Like I'm like, did we even leave? Like it doesn't. It goes by so fast that it's just. I mean. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess, is the saying. So I think, we're going to settle down, and I think a year really works for us, especially just being a teacher. It makes the most sense. Like you can take a year off of work. And Jane's a writer, so as long as she has a pencil or a quill, is that what?
Yes, I write only quill and a
Wow.
paper, which is challenging to find.
That's impressive.
But yes.
So then we can kind of go for that. But I think year segments is it. But
It's the way
That's
to
cool.
do it.
definitely tempted to just like have vagabond children and never come home.
I think we have another question. Let's check that out. The trip got cut short.
That's Jane's brother.
Where that you missed seeing are
You excited to make a trip to in the future? Another good question. Our trip
Utah.
got short 1 hour from what national park was it?
Zion
National Park.
From doing Angel's Landing, the one of the pivotal hikes. Zion National Park has many, but the one Angel's Landing
is the hike that we saw pictures of and said, oh, we have to go there.
And we're like,
Oh, let's.
we're not going to go there in the summer because it's hot. So, like, we're going to want to go in an off season. Well, if we're going to take a few months off, you can't really take a few months off of teaching. So, might as well do the year.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then we might as well also do the summers. So, let's do 14 months. Okay, let's get married and call it our honeymoon. Like, this is like the weird. And it started because of this hike, Angel's Landing. And, like, just where we are in Ontario, it didn't make sense to just go straight to Angel's Landing because that's like we did this kind of clockwise loop of the borders almost to get there, and we were literally 1 hour away. Like, we were doing it that day. We're driving when my mom called me, and my mom's newly retired, but she's also a doctor, and she called me and said, like, she was working at the time actually, and she called me and said, like, no, you gotta come home. Like, this is not a joke anymore. Like, I told you I wouldn't tell you to come home until it was 100%, but like, government's calling it, you gotta come back. And so we just packed, like, we ate our breakfast as we were driving back to Canada. So that just like was ripped away from our hearts. And it's like, we know it's just a hike, but to us it's somehow so much more. And so we have to go back. We have to. Like,
you do it. I have full confidence you're going to do that. Let's talk about the name Camp Lovesick. Where did that come from?
So it started years and years ago. We were making some art and selling it at an art show, and our art was kind of Boy Scout meets
Oh. Something's happened. Are we back? We're back. We're back.
We're back.
Hi.
We're back. Hopefully all of our viewers are still there. And I want to thank, who was it? Was it M's brother?
No, James' brother.
James' brother.
Yes.
Thank you, James' brother, for breaking our feed with with your question. Did we answer the question? I forget where we were at now exactly.
I think we did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
No,
great.
we can text him.
All right.
So
Good
Camp
enough.
Lovesick. The name Camp Lovesick came from the fact that we were doing some arts markets together. I love to do embroidery and prints and photography and that kind of thing. We're both quite creative people. And also I love to tell Jane what to do. So
I'm very good at doing the like menial tasks.
Like, I poke all the holes and then she has to stitch through the holes that I poked. Like, it's like,
it's good.
A little
hilarious. Can poorly do menial tasks. Go back and redo them a little bit better, but
So Camp Lovesick was this like name that we kind of created together. We brainstormed together, that we felt kind of suited our brand. It was very Boy Scout chic meets feminist badass, which was kind of our art that we were creating. And it was like this, nod to the camp counselors that will never stop being, because we're like, that's just our personality. And then still just like about our love and our story, but also just with that like weird quirky edge to it. And then as we then bought the bus, and it then the account kind of rolled from being our art account. So if you go back enough in our Instagram posts, you'll see our art. Like, we didn't delete anything. So it was there. And then it rolled into us being our bus Instagram. That kind of then just shifted the meaning for us. And then this Camp Lovesick name took on this new meaning, which was still like its original vibe that we liked, but it was now this like imaginary summer camp that our subscribers can be a part of, our followers can be a part of. And we're all in it together. We're in this summer camp, we're having fun. And it's just for people who are just, you know, so in love with the world that sometimes they just feel a little sick. So that's kind of where the name Camp Lovesick came from. It's just this like, this kind of nothing, these nothing words put together that somehow to us just really expresses our feelings about the world. Is that ridiculous to
or
say?
like how we want to be in the world.
Yeah, like just so that's
cool.
kind of
We want
where
to
the branding
encounter
came
the
from.
world as loving camp counts.
I like it.
Forever.
So just to, again, now that we're back, reminding anybody that's watching, if you do have any more questions, we're coming kind of close to the end, so go ahead and shoot those into the chat if you do have any questions. If somebody wanted to look into doing this, they have the crazy idea that they want to live mobily, do a bus, do a cargo van, whatever, but they're a little maybe apprehensive about it, not sure if it's really something that they want to do. What would you tell them? What kind of encouragement would you give them to dive into something like this?
Sure. So my biggest piece of advice is that it's never going to ever be the right time. You just kind of have to do it and make it this be the time. Like it's not a convenient thing to do. To buy a school bus, convert it, move into it, travel. Like it's not something that's going to like come to you easily. But if you want to do it, you just have to do it. Like you shouldn't be like waiting for that proper time in your life, because that, I mean, maybe not right now because of the worldwide pandemic, but after right now is a good enough time. Like there's never going to be like that perfect time. You just have to like say, you know what, I'm going to do this and jump in, and like it's terrifying, but hopefully it'll work out for you.
I think my piece of advice, sorry, we're different people, so we have different advice. So my piece of advice kind of follows on yours, but I think like don't get discouraged on the fact that your day-to-day, the things that make you upset day-to-day and the things that might, I don't know, stress you out day-to-day, those things might not change. And so if you were to buy a bus and convert it, and during your conversion you're starting to feel disheartened because you're still freaking out about, you know, what to eat for lunch, and you normally do that every day, like all of a sudden your world doesn't just become perfect, even though Instagram #vanlife makes you think it will. You still have to like have a good relationship with your mom and like, you know, cut your nails and do your dishes. Like, I don't know why those are the things that I thought, but like you have to do the things that you do in normal life still. So your life doesn't all of a sudden become perfect. You still have those down days, but the days that are up are like so much more up than you could ever have imagined previously. So I think that's kind of, they're both the same. It's just like, hey, it's not always going to be perfect, but if you want it, just take it, get it, go for it. Don't wait. Just do it.
Absolutely. Big question to wrap up. When quarantine gets over and we can get to at least some kind of normalcy back, what's your first big adventure going to be?
We really want to pick up where we left off. We're using this quarantine time as an opportunity to kind of reevaluate where we were on our trip, how we were traveling, what we were doing, what were the things that were really working for us, and what can we change to make even better. And so we do want to go back to Utah, do that hike, and kind of carry on.
We are gunning it for that hike. Like, if I get cut off again, I don't know. So we're done with it. But I think, yes, exactly, on this plan. And, you know, we're using this time to, right now we're renovating the camper, but once we finish doing that, and hopefully we sell it to maybe one of you, maybe not you, but maybe one of the viewers.
One of our viewers.
I mean, it could be anyone. But once we do that, we do want to, think about, okay, now we've had all this time living in the bus, and there was little things that we wanted to change, and we've met so many other people who live in buses, and we've seen their rigs. So we do want to take some time to re-reno our reno and make it even better for us, so that when we do go back out on the road, gunning it for that hike in Utah, and kind of just finishing the 6 months that we missed. We're gonna focus on that, and
that's gonna kind of use this as an opportunity to do an even better
lemons to
second half
lemonade.
of our trip.
That's all I'm saying. Lemons to lemonade. That's what we're working with.
That's awesome. I love it. We want to promote you guys so all of our viewers can check you out, because we know that you have your Instagram. We're going to throw that up on the screen so people can get it, which is just at Camp Lovesick. We also going to throw up put your YouTube link down in the description with all of the other links that we have that we're shouting out, your Instagram and everything.
Yeah.
So people can check you out. So I want to thank you so much for taking time and joining us tonight, sharing some love with our community and viewers. I think it was very inspirational. I hope some of our viewers get excited and dive in to try this. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, but I'm so thankful for you ladies, and thank you again for taking time to join us tonight.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
This is so fun.
Gosh, we're the same person.
Quarantine.
Have a good night. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I want to remind you that we would love for you to like and subscribe to our channel below. Also, if you are interested in being a guest blogger or want to connect with us, again, our website is lgbtoutdoors.com. Our website, email is info@lgbtoutdoors.com. And we would love to be able to connect with you. Everybody, you have a safe week. I hope that you have a great evening. And remember to be kind, be true, and be you.